Blurry.
because it's not very bright in here.
Okay.
So we're supposed to be live, but I'm not seeing it. I'm not sure why.
Yeah.
There we go. Hello, everybody. This is
Did you need it?
Did we already lose internet? We're here just to talk a little bit about behind the scenes of Deadly Tarantula Girl, and if you guys have any questions, hello, Kate Benton. Nice to see you. This is going to be something we're going to start doing regularly, but maybe only once a month. We're kind of ripping it off from Brian Barczyk. You know, he does that podcast where he talks about basically anything but the business itself. He talks around the business. So that's what we're looking to do here. And we're eating a little bit because we've been really busy. Just because of the way our life has been going recently, it's been chaos. We spent Thursday having to put an air conditioner into our zoo because looks
See
like
that?
you can see right through the bowl.
Strange.
Our air conditioner went out and it was 99 degrees, so we had to get that taken care of. It took all day, of course. We had to, of course, the hole was too small, so we had to cut a new hole in our wall, and just a typical day for us. But so what we're looking to do with this is kind of give you guys a little rundown on what happens behind the scenes, different funny experiences we've had, a few concerns, nothing real serious.
They're asking about Cairo, so grab him if you
And
can.
give me a second, see if I can catch the dog.
He's down here playing at our feet like a little rascal. Ooh, hello from Toronto. Hi, Kara. Oh,
I can't catch it.
someone from Alabama. Ramiro from Texas. New Mexico Royals is on. Big thanks to him for helping in with some of the heavy lifting this week. Oh, there he is.
He's hard to catch, even with the cast on. But he is fine. They did reduce his radius and ulna. They said they got it pretty straight. Because he's so young, they figure about 2 weeks he'll have that.
Well, happened.
Somebody, and this is the place to ask us if you have any questions too. So if you have questions, feel free to shoot. Somebody's asking about your red eye croc.
Oh, he's great. We had a little party for our graduate last night and had some people over, and we dug him out of his little hole. And oh, he's so cute. He was
Why is our internet so poor?
I don't know.
Yeah, we're seeing that it's really laggy, but I'm not sure why. It looks like we have full signal. I guess it's just because because everybody's using the internet because everybody's home right now, and we're sorry about that. We'll try to work around this, and we're gonna try to stay on here for about an hour. So one of the first things that I wanted to address was something that she thought was funny and I thought really pissed me off. This is a couple years ago. If you go into Google and put in Deadly Tarantula Girl, you get some interesting comments, and I just want to read a few to you and take your opinion on this. So, a bunch of pictures. Let's see, and then us, Morph Market, an article about when she was in the paper. So First thing is tarantulaforum.com. Note, this was not a purchase but a breeding loan. It was a negative review. And basically, he said that we did not keep in touch with him through he sent a mail out, and we didn't keep in touch with him about that mail. Now, we both want to apologize for this. It does happen. And what we're looking for is some help from you guys. If you loan us anything, please keep in contact with us and we will get back to you as soon as possible. It isn't because we just don't want to, it's just because we're always going 10 different directions. So if you've had a mail or you've had an animal sent to us, you sent an animal to us and you haven't heard from us, please get with us so that we can respond to you. Sometimes things just fall through the cracks, and we try to keep good records of everything, but everybody makes mistakes, and unfortunately I'm pretty good at making mistakes. So I don't want anybody to feel like we're disregarding them, because we're not. Things are crazy. I mean, everybody knows that. Oh, one other thing I wanted to comment on is about the New Mexico governor. She is Satan herself. I don't know if you know anything, but she's already declared martial law in one city in this town, and she wants us to wear masks.
City in the state
of New Mexico. She wants us to have to wear masks out in public. And if any of you are religious, which I know quite a few people are not, but I am, she is more spiritual than religious. I believe that wearing a mask out in public is a sign of the devil, and I refuse to be required to do it. If I decided I want to do it because I know there's a lot of cases of this problem going around, of this disease, then maybe I'll decide to do it. But at work, I have to wear them, and I don't mind at all. But when some government official tells me I have to do it and they don't have any medical training, I don't believe that that's right. I think they're violating our rights too far.
My issue is what's being recommended to the public does not necessarily ward against viruses. If you put on a pair of latex gloves at 9 in the morning and go shopping and run errands till 3 in the afternoon, the first thing that you touched, those gloves were no longer sterile, and people go and eat and they touch their face and they touch the shopping cart and they look at things all through the store. Once you touch one thing, your gloves are no longer clean. And so it's a good idea in theory, but not in practice. And these cloth masks, the idea that that's going to keep a virus from going through, the best analogy I've seen is that that's like putting up a chain link fence to keep mosquitoes out of your yard. I mean, scientifically speaking, it's not sound. Now, if the person next to me is going to sneeze in my face, it might help the actual transfer. I believe I've probably already had COVID, and so I have somewhat of immunity, and I'm not a vector. I get my temperature taken every time I go to the gym. I feel strong, so I believe in our liberties personally. I do understand I don't want to put the people around me at risk. I'd rather get it now while I'm off work and young and strong than when school's back in session, which we don't even know the school will be back in session. So, not to sound ignorant or like we're intentionally taking risks, but
there's some questions here real quick. Pinche TTEYT says show tarantulas. I can go grab some. Give us just a little bit. And Papa Zors, hello. Thank you for tuning in from South Africa. Somebody said Papa Disconnect said tarantulas too. And Brandon Mobley said he loves this conversation. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to
definitely. So this is just kind of an open chat for you guys and for us. So we'll be watching the chat. If you guys have questions, feel free to drop them in there. And if we don't see it, throw it in there again. Let's see. So we just finished filming separating 399, right? Yeah.
That's a secret number. You need to watch the video.
Okay. I don't know how many it was. Sorry.
Yeah, we spent the last 3 days shooting video footage of separating this egg sac from the Tucson blonde, and that'll be coming out in the next week. We got as soon as we're done with this live, we got to go back out and shoot a bunch more videos. We're just trying to get some so that you guys have something to watch, because I know it's been kind of scarce, and I apologize for that. We've taken the foresight to get our technology better so that I can do it from a distance, because the technology that we had just wasn't working with our editing equipment, and we now fixed that. So now we just got to get some videos so I can get them to you guys when I'm not on the home base. So more videos coming, lots of videos. Another thing is that we've been talking about personally behind the scenes is, since we've started doing more and more reptile videos, our views have kind of gone down a little bit. And we don't get me wrong, we don't mind, because we're known for being tarantula people. But we've been doing reptiles this whole time, so we want to try to include that into. Iron Dog's on here.
Cool.
We want to share as much as we can. The big thing about the channel is through both of us, when we were up and coming and trying to learn how to take care of stuff, we had both of us bought tons of books. You can see all the books back here.
Well, that's just one bookshelf.
Yeah, and we still did not have the information we needed to successfully reproduce animals or even take care of them. For one thing, is that it was the technology to keep these animals successfully is getting better every year. But when we both started, you had a 10-gallon tank, a 20-gallon tank. Vitalites were out, which was the only full spectrum, and the reptile rate was just coming to a huge potential. It was starting to get big, but it wasn't big enough to where people were actually interested in investing in development of
it was nowhere
reptile
near
products.
as mainstream as it is now.
So we want to hopefully help you guys so that when you get ready to if you want a new species, that hopefully we'll have some information on it for you. And if there's a question that you have that we can answer, we certainly want to be able to do that for you. We had a gentleman this week that emailed and asked about the size of his tarantula, wanted to know if it was big enough to breed. And we're going to do a video about that to explain it a little more in depth and our experiences. The short of it is that you might be surprised at how young your tarantula can breed, and you might be surprised if you hold off breeding some of these animals. Sometimes it can cause the tarantulas to produce ghost sacs, and we actually had a hognose that we were raising up, and we held off breeding her. We brought some males into the room. We ended up losing her because she got egg bound. She sensed those males in the room and went ahead and ovulated. We didn't breed her because we didn't think she was big enough, and she got egg bound, and we consulted a vet, and there was nothing we could do, unfortunately. So don't worry about attempting it. My belief is that it's not going to hurt to try if your animal is within the range of breeding. You know, with ball pythons,
as long as your animal is at a healthy weight and displaying. If you have an emaciated animal, of course that's not going to be an animal that's going to be fit to bear offspring. But as long as your animal is healthy and, had reasonable care, then yes.
And see, I disagree with that a little bit. The big discussion now that we've been, as far as we are into it, is that some of these bigger females, people are trying to get them as fat as possible, and then they don't ovulate. Ball pythons, reticulate pythons, these animals are getting so big and getting fed so much that they don't feel any need to actually ovulate.
Well, I don't agree with making your animals obese. So somebody's asking for clarification. Kate is. Thanks, Iron Dog. So, okay, I said if an animal was emaciated, it shouldn't be bred. But a lot of people do. There's kind of an obese standard. We have a lot of animals that are thinner, but still at a very good weight. And people say, oh, that animal's too skinny. Oh, they're not getting fed. In the wild, animals are typically not obese. Why? Because that's not an ideal health range. I mean, look at people. It's not healthy. Stop it. Most people are obese these days. That's not the way your bodies were programmed to be at their optimum health. So, yeah. Your snakes and tarantulas don't need to be fat to reproduce, but they're emaciated. And I don't know. Or you have an animal that's laid an egg sac, laid a clipped egg. That's an animal that you want to give additional nutrition to until they get back to a healthy body mass.
Yeah, I agree about the emaciated stuff. That's you don't want to ever try to breed an unhealthy animal, but the definition of health may be a little bit heavier than you would see the animal in the wild. For instance, ball pythons probably don't get up to 6,000 grams in most cases in the wild. Once they hit that, I would guess 12 to 1,500 gram range. A 1,200 gram range ball python in the wild is probably a longer snake with less overall weight on the body than a 1,200 gram female ball python in captivity. Yes, be sure to hit the like button just so more people will be able to see
Cairo.
join us.
No.
The other thing,
Cairo.
so another thing is that a few years ago she was looking up, just trying to figure out where we sat in the world as far as the channel and Deadly Tarantula Girl. So she ran into a forum and she thought it was just funny. And I don't think it's so funny. So let me read you one of these comments. This is from 2017. This is about her, about Deadly Tarantula Girl, and what it says is, what could there be missing except het IQ, which I assume means her IQ. IMO, she's just a lesser intelligent porn star that nobody likes to watch. So she is forced to make it stupid tarantula movies on YouTube filmed in a downward angle so everybody could see her huge tatas. Now, it's funny how everybody that wants to attack her for how she looks, and how does that equate to IQ? I mean, if somebody really feels that way, then I would imagine this is a very ugly person that sees lots of beautiful people out in the world and just thinks everybody's a porn star. I don't know. It's just stupid. I mean, I've known lots of people that really surprised me one way or the other when I first started talking to them. You make kind of an instant judgment on people, and then you talk to them and find out there's either a lot more there or a lot less there. So the thing about a video is we're trying to throw as much information as we can into a short period of time.
People are remarking on in the feed.
Remarking on my what?
They're saying, "Wow, forget that word."
And I do agree. I'm so sorry about the feed. We've got internet issues, and on top of just because there's so many people using the internet right now because everybody's trapped at home. And I really apologize for the pauses. But so the funny thing about this is over 3 days there was like 400 comments, most of them negative. A few people did defend her.
A little. They were like, "Oh, I think she's okay."
And then the moderators actually shut this down and said, "Okay, that's enough. This is getting out of hand." And she thought it was funny, but I'd like to. You ever seen Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, where they find all these negative comments and they get enough money to where they fly to people's houses and meet them face to face? Someday. But no, I don't. What I'm hoping to point out here is that if you think there's a way we can make these videos better for you guys, if there's something we can do within reason. I mean, we're
always open to constructive criticism.
Yes.
If you just hate me because you hate your own life, sorry, get a life.
Exactly. But we are, and then another discussion. There's a guy named John Feely, which is Feely's Clutch on YouTube. He's a great guy. So I had a conversation with him recently because we had a video that went in our version of viral, but it wasn't the definition of viral. It got 2 million views over a year, 2 years, and did very well for us. And we got a ton of attention because of that. And now things are kind of slowing down, and we're okay with that. Don't get me wrong, but we're seeing other people that are just getting into the game, meaning they're just getting tarantulas for the first time, and they're starting to put out videos, and all of a sudden they blow up. So I was talking to him about that, and he said the biggest difference is pet tubers versus actual animal breeders on YouTube. And I had no idea that there was a definition of that. So you've got these people that talk
A
a little bit.
distinction between the
Yeah.
two.
So I was kind of surprised that this was actually, somebody had actually looked at it and said this is the case. And that we can help them along. And if there's something that we can learn to keep our animals more successfully, then we certainly want to do that. And we actually have tried. We're both tried and true with the old style vermiculite in the bottom of the cage, and we're using cork bark. We use it more and more the further we get into it. And uh, we've tried some of the other products that people are putting out there. The first thing that we've seen, which is a godsend in our opinion, is the Newzilla tarantula cages, because they're meant to be inexpensive. They're perfectly sized for the animals we plan on putting them in, and there will be more videos out about those cages. They're wonderful. They're great. Going to be a huge. They're going to change the way we keep animals. Um, we are trying new things, and not everything works out for us. The way that we've been doing it, we do it that way because we're successful. Keep maintaining our animals that way. People have lots of critiques about that, and that's fine. But that doesn't mean we're just going to do what everybody else is doing, because that's not the way we've ever done it. And because of that, we've been successful. Because if we would have listened to what everybody else said, we would have been unsuccessful, because a lot of people were purposely trying to send both of us down the wrong track.
Well, not only that, but so we're totally different what we do from the guy who has 9 tarantulas and lives at his mom and doesn't lives with his mom and doesn't go to work all the time. So our enclosures are utilitarian for multiple reasons, because it's safer, it's more economical, it's easier to clean, it's easier to monitor your animals. Now, full bioactive planted terrariums are beautiful, but they harbor a lot more bacteria. It's difficult to monitor the animal. They often are nervous and afraid because they're in too much space. If I had a few animals, that's definitely how I'd keep them. And I'd try to find the animals every single day and be able to spend more time on each one. But because we have a massive collection and because we're breeders, we're not just pet owners, we use utilitarian methods, and it's the safest, it's the most economical, and it's been the most effective. It's not the most beautiful. That's Rukia.
She wants to say hi.
Yes.
Say hi.
So
Hi.
she's our little awkward child. She survived a nasty injury in like January. So she's pretty proud of herself. We took her out to the sand dunes last night. She had a blast. I think there's some footage of that on my Snapchat. So, yeah, if these people want to keep these, have every one of their animals in a 10 or 20 gallon enclosure, kudos, congratulations to you. But that doesn't mean that the way we're doing it is incorrect.
And we have experimented with keeping tarantulas in 10-gallon cages. And for the most part, we find that it's more stressful on them, because then all this area is open for them, and they don't want to feed. All they want to do is try to hide. And even if you give them hiding places, they don't like it. One thing about a tarantula is you can set the cage up how you want it to be, and then when you put the spider in there, they're going to set it up the way they want to be, which is not going to be anywhere close to the way that you did it. And that's just the animal behavior and human behavior, and lots of anthropomorphism is put into the animal world, and what that is putting human attributes on animals. And animals don't feel or react the same way we do. Any animal, and every human is different too. So you can't expect every animal to be the exact same. If you have 20 of one species of tarantula, you might find that one or two of them tend to be a little more nervous than one or two of the other ones. So you got to kind of try to cater to the animal too, and we do that. Some animals we've got in a couple different types of cages because one did better. One of the same species did better in a smaller cage or a bigger cage, so we set them up that way. We're always looking to see. We're looking for a certain level of comfort for our animals, and no matter what people say, if they're reproducing there's a level of comfort that may not even be possible for them in the wild. You got to remember, most of these animals we're captive breeding have such a high survivability per egg sac. In the wild, it isn't like that. Only maybe 1 out of 10 or 1 out of 100 animals make it to maturity. Whereas we're raising these egg sacs, we've just had one that had hundreds, and probably 75% of them will make it to adulthood, and some of them will get to reproduce, some of them won't. But still, the probability is there's going to be a higher reproducible animals out of this egg sac coming out of our room than coming out of the wild. So you got to keep that in mind too. And I got a little bit of a nit to pick about this, because the two biggest tarantula YouTubers on YouTube right now, they're only been a couple years into tarantulas. I don't even know if either one of them are bred yet. And there's a new guy coming up, really fantastic channel. He's doing some amazing footage, but I think I recently heard that he's never bred a tarantula. So he's just a hobbyist, and he's a pet tuber, and he's doing a great job. I mean,
he makes beautiful videos.
Yes, very beautiful videos.
Are you going to say who they are or no?
Do you want to?
Sure.
So we've got the Dark Den, which I hate the guy. He's a communist, and he doesn't like women. Okay. That's my opinion.
That's his theory. We don't know that for sure.
He's an ass. I mean, he just, even on the YouTube, we had a friend contact him and say, you know, I don't know if this is true. And he basically just said, well, that's your opinion. You're welcome to it. I don't care. So he doesn't care about the public, and that's fine. And then Exotics Lair, I think that's just like a kid that's really good. These guys have a talent with working with YouTube. They know how to run algorithms. They know how to get their stuff into feeds to get more people watching, and that's great. I mean, there's nothing. I don't have anything against them, other than we did try to work with Petco, and he said, nah. And then
that's the Dark Den, right?
Oh, the Dark Den. Yeah, the Dark Den. His name's Petco, ironically. The store that everybody hates, he decides to call his name. He goes by that.
That's his name.
Maybe it is, but if it was, I would have changed my name to Bob. But whatever. He did not want to work with us, and that's fine. Now that I've thought about it, it could be because he was so new to the hobby, he was afraid that maybe he gets shown up a little bit. Maybe not. Maybe he just doesn't like her. I don't know. Maybe he doesn't like me. But I don't come out on camera very often. I stay behind the camera, so I doubt it had anything to do with me. And then he did get on with Tarantula Cat, and she seems to be doing okay. And here's another interesting thing that I've watched. I've always wondered that, God forbid, if the channel were to stop, if we were just to stop doing videos tomorrow, what would happen? Would the channel get bigger? Would the channel get smaller? Well, I don't know if any of you know Tarantula Cat in 1976. When we first started getting in, he was just going out. I really like Petco. Well, and I'm not telling you to not watch the guy. I'm just saying I wouldn't take everything he says to heart. You might want to do a little research yourself, because he's new.
He's still a novice keeper in comparison to what we do.
We deal with, when we have a question, we talk to people that have been in this and been keeping animals for over 30 years. And sometimes they scratch their head and go, I don't really know. So we're looking for the information from the sources that we trust. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't watch him. Nothing. I'm not calling him out. I'm just saying that.
I think you are.
Okay, I am calling him out. But I'm just saying that I'm surprised that he has, because when I go, this comment in here was saying that quite a few people said, I prefer the Dark Den over what she says, and I find that surprising, because I once saw a video that he went out and got a stick and put it in his bathtub, and in 24 hours he had 10,000 views. And I guess I don't understand. I don't understand why that was so entertaining for people, and how that benefited people learning about how to keep them. Someone said, I watch Petco for entertainment, not knowledge. Thank you very much. That's very interesting, and something that we want to try to bring to the forefront too. How can we be more entertaining for you guys so that you can enjoy watching while still gaining the knowledge? If you guys have any suggestions, like I said, we're willing to listen to anything. And we do want a little bit more of that. We're talking about. Somebody said they think it's the accent. Yeah, them Russians have some strange accents, don't they? We don't have accents if you're American, and we don't. As close as we are to Texas, neither one of us have a Texas accent, which I think is good. Uh, his accent drove me nuts at first. Yeah, I don't. His accent didn't bother me one way or the other. But this other guy, he's out of Philadelphia, I think, and his name is the Tarantula Collective. If you ever watch it, this guy does.
Yeah, although he seems newer, his video quality is great. I mean, you don't watch kill an animal on camera. So we do support the Tarantula Collective.
Oh wow, thank you, Kevin. That's really awesome.
Ooh, awesome. Yeah, feel free to drop some dimes.
What does he say?
Let's see. FYI, Petco at the Dark Den has a fiance and they just bought a house together. I enjoy all the laughs he gives us while dealing with his animals. All right.
And we realize that we're not in that same boat because most of our stuff is, we try to make it as undry as possible, but sometimes when we're trying to teach about an animal, it's hard to stay entertaining.
Education is definitely our priority over entertainment. It's good to be entertaining because more people will watch, but ultimately if someone gets an animal and they need to know how to care for it, we like to get those emails that say, oh my gosh, after I watched your video on red-eyed croc skinks, I found out I was keeping my animals wrong, and once I started doing what you showed, then they started feeding and I think you saved their lives. Those who are truly seeking knowledge and those who we really help, that's kind of our driving goal. Even if our channel never grows bigger than it is, but ultimately we'd like to be wildly successful, and because then we're helping more people in our opinions.
And we want to educate. What our main goal is we want the reptiles to be, and tarantulas to be mainstream. We don't want to have to fight to keep our rights for them. And say what Sarah Jean said.
So Sarah Jean is on from Reno. David Spiders and Things is on. Kara's been on for a little while. All God's Creatures from Houston. We love our Houston peeps. Audrey Whitaker. Ask Tom's Big Spiders.
Yeah, he's got a lot. We actually go to Tom's Big Spider, and we're so sorry for the lag. Hopefully we'll be able to get this fixed, but it's just there's so many people using the internet in our neighborhood, and we're kind of out in the country that if 5 people get online, sometimes we have lags, and I apologize for that. We'll try to get it fixed as soon as possible. So yes, Tom's Big Spiders is a good guy. We've actually used a lot of stuff that he's put out there. He is very, very knowledgeable. And another guy that just put out a video that he's going to be going to India and doing postal theory is Andrew Smith. He's a great guy. We've actually got to meet him, and yes, he's out. It's called lovetarantulas.com. Check him out. This guy has been spending, I'll take care of it, years and years with just gaining knowledge and going out there and studying them in the wild. Another place is there's an African site. These guys are putting out all kinds of baboon spider videos.
Is it Tarantulapedia or something?
Yeah, like Tarantulapedia. Those guys are really good. I got to put a dog away because we have 2 dogs that don't like each other. We got to keep them apart. I'll be right back.
Yes. So let's see. Tips for breeding T. sturmii. Oh, that's so the biggest thing I would say is definitely supervise the breeding and do it on the floor, because if you have an animal fall from a tabletop, any of those big heavy-bodied animals, a lot of times that's it for them. Take the 2 enclosures, put them near each other, open the lids, help the male into the female's enclosure. I always keep tongs in between them until things are looking good. But my number one tip for breeding T. sturmii would be to do it directly on the floor.
Or in the bathtub.
Yeah, you could do that. But I'm saying not on an elevated surface.
Yeah, we know it keeps freezing up, and we're so sorry for that. So now this is another guy. I don't really want to so much call him out. It's just try to get him to open up a dialogue with us. I got bit by a rattlesnake about a year and a half ago now, and we had this product called Venom Lock, and I got bit right, okay, right there, and you can't even tell that it happened. And I believe that's the device that we use, which is a circumferential tourniquet device.
Compression device. It's not a tourniquet.
Yes, I don't know the technical terms for it. I just used it and it worked. So we had this guy from, he's a herpetologist. He actually went to school and for reptiles, and he actually works with
Asclepia Snakebite Foundation.
And he attacked us on that video where we did that. He said they absolutely do not work, and there's no data out there to support it. And the reality is that he's full of it. There is data out there to support it. Unfortunately, there's no human data.
So
I'm the only.
What he said was that Sean Bush wrote a paper debunking the use of tourniquet device or venom extractors, which is true. This is not a venom extractor, though. So everything, I think his name is Benjamin Jordan.
Sounds right.
Yes. And so he actually left at least 50 comments, I want to say, to all kinds of our viewers on our video saying, don't buy this, the inventor's a kook, it's a ripoff, this is a lie, blah, 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 all this stuff. And he was citing Sean's paper, which we have mad respect for Sean Bush, mad respect. And he essentially proved that venom extraction devices don't work. However, so number one, this is not a tourniquet. Number two, this does not claim to be a venom extractor. This does not extract the venom. What it does is it creates a vacuum from the lymph tissue over the site of the wound, keeping the venom in that vacuum until you can get medical treatment. It is not a substitute for medical treatment. And they did do large mammal studies, which were proven to be very, very effective. The difference between life and death in multiple cases. And we've read the research ourselves. Also, this was invented and designed and redesigned by a doctor that's a toxicologist and an emergency room doctor. So it's not like Joe Blow down the street went, I'm going to make me a rattlesnake device. I mean, this was all founded on research and then trials, and then they thought, okay, let's make it oval shaped. So if that entire area needs to be excised, you can close the wound easily. And so
we got a couple questions about it. How was the pain level? The pain level was excruciating. So let me give you a quick summary on the bite. I was outside. It was December, and we had just brought home some new animals, and we're setting up our zoo. We had to rearrange a bunch of stuff. So I needed some 2x4s to keep a rack separated. I went outside, and it was dark. It was about 40 degrees at the most. And I thought, I probably should look under this board before I reach under there, because there was a 2x4 under just a piece of plywood.
Like in a wood pile.
Yeah, we had a big wood pile out there. And it's December. Why would I need to look under there? Well, I stuck my hand in there, and I felt a small prick. It didn't feel like much initially. So she was walking off, and I said, hey, wait a minute. Come bring your camera over here, because she had a flashlight on the phone. And she comes over, and she shines a light down on there, and there's a little baby mouse, like probably 18 inches long. And there's blood on my wrist, like I said, right in this area. It's like, oh my, we got bit. Well, one of our other people that work with us said, you need to put a venom lock on that. First words out of his mouth. And he's not a snake guy. I mean, he works with snakes, but he doesn't like them. But for some reason, he knew instantly what to do. So we went and got that. It was in the house. Within couple minutes, I had the Venom Lock on, and I had it. It was luckily I got bit in a spot where I could put it on because it's
One
not.
tarantula bite.
Huh?
Me personally.
Oh.
Somebody asked how many tarantula bites I've gotten.
So I was in a spot to where I could get the circumferential device because it's actually oval shaped and it's pretty big. So they really design it more for body or extremities rather than your hands or your feet. And but we managed to get it on, so we headed straight to the hospital. We're 10 minutes away. And while we were driving down the road, I was telling her it feels like somebody sticking a cattle brand.
Hot poker is what you said.
It was just felt like fire inside that device, and I really wanted to take it off. Now, while this was going on, there was no swelling in my arm, nothing here. It was when you looked inside the circumferential device, the skin was raised up a little bit. It wasn't pushing out over the top because it's about that thick, but probably that far up into the device. So maybe a quarter of an inch of my tissue was up in that device, and I wanted to take it off. It hurt so bad. Went in. The doctor told the doc, got through what do they call it? Registration, and got in a room that told him what I was bit by. We knew that it was a coontail, so we knew that it was a Western Diamondback. That's the only species that has a coontail here. And if you know anything about rattlesnakes, if you go a little further west or a little further south, they also have Mojave rattlesnakes. So they're kind of hard to differentiate in those areas. They look like they look very much the same. So we knew it was a Western Diamondback. Within 45 minutes, I was getting. And at that point, my whole arm within 15 minutes swelled all the way up to my shoulder. I couldn't close my hand. It was so swollen. And I got 6 vials of anti-venom at the time, which they're about $13,000 a piece. So it was a little bit pricey. We're still paying on that. And then because my arm had swollen so quickly, one of the nurses came in and was surprised after I took the Venom Lock off. She said she thought it was a dry bite. She didn't think I got bit by a rattlesnake. But that circumferential device kept the venom right in that area. And then once we got the anti-venom flowing, we released it so that it could start working against the anti-venom or the venom. And they were still a little worried, so they flew me out to Lubbock because they were afraid that I might get compartment syndrome, which is when your tissue gets so swollen that it cuts off the blood supply. And when that happens, you got to have a surgeon come in and actually lance your arm just to allow the tissue to release some of that pressure on your blood flow. It didn't happen that way. Within 24 to 26 hours, they had released me after I got another additional 6 vials of anti-venom at $13,000 a piece. They let us go, and for the next week, my arm was so swollen I couldn't close my hand. I couldn't hardly move my arm because the tissues were so swollen. And after that, the swelling went down, back to normal. No ill effects at all, which I know people that have been bitten by Western Diamondbacks, and they actually did have compartment syndrome and had to have their arms lanced, and they've got huge scarring, and there's even scarring around the bite. And I was very fortunate, and I put all that to the Venom Lock. So we had another guy we talked to, and he did a video. Live right now, so I will. I'll get back with you. Bye. Let me do. So within a week, I was back to normal, and so we did another live a few months after that, and talked to this guy. He did a video called the Venom Interviews, where he talked to people about snake bite experts, people
with Ray Morgan.
Bitten. Yeah, Ray Morgan. And what his opinion was there was no data to support or not support the Venom Lock. That the data that was put out there was only on animals, and when they did the study on animals, basically a high percentage of the animals that were envenomated that didn't have the Venom Lock ended up dying, and the ones that used the Venom Lock and were treated after that, they kept them on for 6 hours. I think they had the Venom Locks on for 6 hours just to see what would happen. They survived. So the animal information that's out there says that this device could be a huge life-changing event for anybody that's out in the wild. They're about $20. You can buy them from tongs.com. And we actually have a few that we sell too. They're $24 shipped to the lower 48. And
You can get them on Amazon too.
yeah, and you really need to invest in this if you live in somewhere where there's rattlesnakes, which is the whole United States. And what we want to
Really?
do, huh?
Really?
Can you think of a state that doesn't have rattlesnakes? North Dakota does.
Do they?
Minnesota does.
Okay. Then everywhere.
Yeah,
If they can live there, they can live anywhere.
There,
John.
we need to get the. So John just gave us hearts.
Yes.
You need to have one, and if you are unfortunate enough to be bit, you need to put it on and get to the doctor immediately. This is not a treatment. All it is to give you time to get to medical treatment. That's all it's designed for. So that was our experience with what's the name of the guy that's calling us out?
Jordan Benjamin.
Jordan Benjamin.
So to be clear, we've tried to reach out to him multiple times to talk about what it is that he hates about it, or to kind of address his concerns so we can know. He's an educated man. We're educated. We'd like to know more about his perspective, not just, oh, it's garbage, don't listen to them. But we'd like to have, a scholarly discussion about it to see. He seems to have kind of like a personal grudge against it for some reason. I don't know if his grandma was killed by an Atrox or
Something wrong?
No.
Something wrong?
So, okay, so we've had some questions about tarantula bites. And so I've only been bitten by one tarantula ever. It was a young female Carabina versicolor. We were filming and I was handling her. And basically she was just kind of like walking across my hand. And she sort of lost her footing and just kind of grabbed my finger with her fangs and drew blood. And I don't know if it was a drive-by or if she envenomated me and it just wasn't painful, but it didn't hurt at all. We actually did a video about it. Rob C had just done a video where he was bitten by some kind of Poecilotheria and was being super duper dramatic about it. So I kind of spoofed that a little bit. But basically I had zero effect whatsoever. Yeah, I know, having a scholarly debate, right? Well, I mean, we're capable. We don't know if that guy is. But anyway, one of our other employees was bitten by an HMAC once. We were feeding and watering. This little teeny HMAC was escaped and was running across the floor. I was thinking it was like...
No, it was about an inch.
Oh, okay. So anyway, we used to have a refrigerator in our room where we used to keep like our catfish pellets and like our frozen rodents and stuff. And thanks, Dave. So so basically I encouraged her to cup her hand around it before it went underneath the refrigerator. I didn't think it would be big enough to really bite her, but it did. So that was my bad. Basically, she felt kind of like burning at the site. Kind of sting. We kept it away. We put her hand under cold water and ice. Did 1 dose of ibuprofen. The next day, her hand had minor discomfort, and after that, she just.
Guys can't judge inches. You were so right. It was 12 inches. It really was.
Yeah. So anyway, so I've personally witnessed an HMAC bite, and it was painful at the time. But she had no like neurological damage. It wasn't as painful. I suspect that different species or same species from different regions may be more potent than others. I also suspect that tarantulas may be able to withhold their venom kind of like a snake can. I don't know that there's ever been research done on that. But I don't know if that could have been a worse bite and it wasn't.
There's if you know Earl Jones from Lone Star Reptiles, the guy he's all over the place when it comes to knowledge. He knows a lot about it.
In a good way.
Yes. He was saying recently that and it was the Aeschylus Foundation, or the Sleepiest, that they found out that the black mambas were using in captivity, that they were making anti-venom for it and sending it over to Africa, and it wasn't working on the wild black mamba bites. So something's going on. Either they're not getting the type of food they need to make a full load of venom that the wild animals are, or it's possible that they've been separated out of the wild long enough to where their venom is developing new things there's a lot of research that needs to be done yet. So it's possible that the stuff we're keeping in captivity, I don't know if you guys know, but dart frogs tend to lose their toxicity in captivity and still can spike occasionally, meaning they can become toxic for short periods due to the diet. We don't feed them what they eat in the wild, and so they're not able to produce those toxins, because there are some dart frogs that could do some real damage to human beings.
So Kara's asking about neurological. So there have been documented reports of people who have been bitten by potent species and claim to be having permanent nerve damage, headaches, nausea for months, years after the bite.
In tarantulas.
Yes. And so, go ahead.
I just want to throw this in while she's talking about it. It seems like most of those people that are having those neurological effects are from African or Asian species like Poecilotheria, and they seem to be in Sweden and Denmark. For some reason, those people seem to be more susceptible to neurological effects from tarantula venom. And it could just be because of their genetics. They don't have anything in their system to fight the neurological side of the venom.
Those aren't predators that they would be naturally exposed to in the wild, that race of people. Kind of like certain races are more prone to illnesses. So that's just kind of
interesting
evolution for you there.
Well, it's really fascinating that this happens. So does that mean that somebody in Africa, if they got bit by a 1-inch HMAC, wouldn't have the effects that we do in America? There's evidence so far, and it's all anecdotal, that may be the case. But I'll tell you, Africans, they say that when they go out on those coconut plantations and there's Stromatopelma calceata or Heteroscota maculata, they're terrified of those spiders, because in the wild they really do affect the people that get bit. I mean, they have bad effects, and it's not, as far as I know, it's not life-threatening, but it'll make you pretty miserable. Okay, so on that note, we have read about people dying from like helobites and things like that, and to be clear, that's usually people with some type of compromised immunity and things like that. There was a guy that was found dead at his pool, and I don't know if the Gila monster had drowned in the pool or if there was just the bite marks that was attributed to a Gila monster. But they attributed that bite to causing his death, but the guy was he was considered an alcoholic, and he had bad liver and heart issues. This was in the 40s or the 50s. It was a long time ago. And so there have been deaths attributed to Gila monster bites, but we know plenty of people have been bit by Gila monsters. I've seen it myself. And nobody that we know has had any long-term effects. It's just an initial bite, the pain from that, and the bleeding. They bleed bad. It does. It just bleeds and bleeds because their venom is an anticoagulant venom. So you're gonna bleed for a while, but. And me personally, I've never been bit by a tarantula, but I've been bit by several redhead centipedes, which we're gonna be doing a video. We just got this massive one, and every time I get bit, the effects are worse. I gotta tell you, that centipede bite, the last one I had, was way more painful than that western diamondback bite. It hurt bad. She was trying to talk to me, and she wanted me to answer her, and all I could do was just splutter at her. Lots of cuss words. It was an interesting demonstration. I hurt, and I was crying and screaming, and it hurt bad. So then I had to remind him of when I got a bad pede bite, and he was like, "Oh, you don't overreact." Just like that. That's true, but I'm more sensitive. Yes. I was totally cool, by the way. I just laid there with ice on my ankle for a little while. Yeah. And I got multiple bites. Like, it wrapped around my ankle and tagged me and tagged me and tagged me. He gets one little bite. And John Feely was the guy that I was talking to that told me that there's a difference between what we do and what the predators do. So one of these days we need to sit down with him. What was the pain level from 1 to 10 on that pede bite? My worst one was probably a 6. I mean, I've given birth to people, so I'm tough. And in comparison to the amount of pain that I've had in my life, it was close to an 8. It was to the point where I couldn't form sentences. I suffer from type 1 diabetes, and I've had a few low blood sugars that put me in the hospital. When I wake up, I have a headache that migraine type headache, and it hurts. And that was the most agony that I've ever been in. The last time I was in the hospital, they gave me some drug, and I don't know what it was. It felt really good. It took all the pain away. But before that, They just say you got to tough it out. But the centipede bite was second only to that.
Stop right there. We have an important question. Matt K wants to know, why doesn't my trapdoor spider get my knock-knock jokes? Because he's already heard them all. That was cute.
And then another thing that I did want to cover tonight was, what was the other thing we were going to talk about? Well, we definitely, if you guys have any questions, feel free to answer them. Being behind the camera, there may be some things I may be able to do. One thing that I have noticed about the Tarantula Collective is that he shoots a lot of camera angles, and I really do find that fascinating. John Feely, love you guy. He was also telling me that the average attention span is about 3 seconds. I don't know if anybody takes offense to that, but I know mine is. If I ain't entertaining in 3 seconds, I'm going to move on to something else. So we may work a little bit more around with that. We're going to do our best to make sure that we keep you guys entertained. Oh, Rob C. So Rob C kind of went off the scene just as we were coming in, and he's trying to come back, and people don't seem to be responding to him as strongly as they did when he was the biggest guy on YouTube. And we've also heard, what is that floating in the air?
A dog hair, I would guess, from the WrestleMania that was going on.
And we're not the only ones feeling this. The old school YouTubers that do tarantulas, several of them are feeling kind of shunned from the collective, I guess.
We've got someone on from Scotland saying, can't sleep, love watching. Thank you, Jungle Zone. Brian Conroy said he was bitten by a beaded lizard and that bite was bad. I've seen one person take a beaded lizard bite, and that guy's kind of a weenie, and he took it pretty well. So, well.
He did.
Okay. So Brian, let us know about your beaded lizard bite. Never heard of Rob C. Yeah, so he's been off camera for about, I think this is our 8th year maybe being on YouTube, and he was kind of fading as we were coming on. So he and John 3800 were the only big, well-known tarantula people at the time. Oh, look at this.
Oh, breath.
Look at this.
Breath.
Who's
the
this?
breath is worse than the venom of
and
the centipede.
So he goes by Tarantula Guy 1976. I think that was the name of his channel. And so he and his wife got super heavy into bodybuilding, and now they're back, and most of their videos are about like nutritional supplements, and people were like, what the hell, like, we're your tarantula subscribers. So he's kind of started showing some invert content now, although he got totally out of it, and I would guess he's bought a few things just to kind of like quiet that grumbling.
And somebody had asked for tarantulas, so let me go grab some.
Oh yeah.
Do you have anything entertaining you can say through this?
Oh sure.
You could throw some more comments out there. This thing was, like I said, it was like 300 people, and I'm still mad about it.
This comment feed was a waste of time. See if I can find anything stupid. Oh, I love when they accuse me of being dumb and can't spell a 3-letter word. People complaining about my enclosures, which that's a matter of opinion. So if you have a differing opinion, I totally can appreciate that. But don't call me a waste of life because we disagree. Just another desperate narcissist with lots to compensate, trying to get famous on the world's second biggest idiot database. The biggest would be Facebook. Nothing to see here. Side note, stumbled over her channel when I started to research tarantulas after days in the hobby. Now I notice everything she does is either wrong. I don't know. That doesn't make sense. I don't understand that people that are ill-informed still have hordes that follow them. Main reason why I'm so critic about my social media, or rather certain people, ugh. So that didn't even make sense. But obviously, if I've been reproducing and breeding, I mean, I was a premier tarantula breeder in the 90s. So let's do the math here. Obviously, I know nothing, and I'm terribly unsuccessful. I don't know, these people that have their own opinions. I mean, we have veterinarians that consult with us. So I don't know. I would consider me an expert, but that's just my humble opinion. And here's the kicker. So hundreds of people chimed in on this forum talking about how they hate me so much. just another bad YouTube tarantula. It's unfortunate most popular ones are almost all bad. She has a very large collection. There's no way someone has not at least mentioned something about this to her face. Silliness. So obviously I've been successful if I've been keeping all these animals for decades. So we get these new people who get an idea or was told by their neighbor that this is the way to do it. I mean, I've co-authored books on tarantula care. And also, if people don't like it, why are you watching? So he got all bent out of shape about all these people. Oh, do we really need to go through this again? Enter her name and you see zillions of threads telling people how they feel about her. Same goes for threads about John 3800. So that lady was basically saying, like, why all the hate? Well, this thread has devolved into madness in record time. Okay, so anyway, basically, if you don't like my content, why are you watching? He was all upset. Here's what I said about it. I said, not a single person said, who are you guys talking about? Yeah. So if our goal is to become well-known educators, obviously our mission had been accomplished. So that was my only point.
So right, to start out with, the video that we spent the last 3 days, it took us 3 days to shoot this video, was, hopefully you guys can see this. You see them there? It took us 3 days to separate all these guys out, which is just amazing. And I will show you, I think I brought one of the...
So almost our entire table was filled up with containers from edge to edge, and they were stacked 5 high. So yeah, that was quite a few little babies.
And they are fast and squirmy if you've ever dealt with baby tarantulas. So let's see. This is not the mama, but oh, this is a male. So this might be actually be the dad. We got to get him bred again. And unfortunately, he's not as pretty as his girlfriend's, but so that's probably the father. I don't know how he managed to stay alive this long. Generally, they only live about 30 to 50 days.
David, they are Chalcodes, Aphanopelma chalcodes.
Yes, they are. So this is a mature male Chalcodes. Good catch. Beautiful animal. He's got a sperm web in here, so we need to get him bred. Well, and then a video that we've got to do. We just got this in this afternoon, which I'm really excited about. You know, we've said several things about this. If you can see that. He's going to be in a video, so you guys can get a little
sneak peek.
A little sneak peek at some of our videos that are going to be coming out.
I don't think that was the big one, Kevin. I think we got 2, and that was the little one.
What?
He said that was a big boy or something.
Yeah,
like
that's. Just wait.
This animal was just brought to us today, so we have no idea how old it is.
This is a spider that we need to do another video on. We've been raising it up. Oh, and it's kicking hairs.
Oh, just took our door.
Why are you telling me that now? Fix it. So we've got animal issues right now. We've got to get taken care of. And we're just about coming to the end. We'll just show you these guys. And I don't even know if you're supposed to handle these. So I may get bit. This may be my first bite. See if anybody knows what that is. Oh, it doesn't look too bad on here.
It looks pretty good.
So it's a Brachypelma. And
species? Anybody know the species?
We'll be doing a video pretty soon. Maybe we'll do a video tonight about them because they're a stunning animal. They're just really hard to get on camera because in real life they don't look anything like they do on camera. And then the last one that we're going to show is one of her favorites that I never really have had much interest in, but they're very popular. You want to hold this one?
Sure.
And luckily she's not kicking any hairs.
Oh, thank goodness. Where are you going, honey? This looks really big in my hands.
That's what she said. And I don't know if you guys know what that is, but that's a Grammostola poker piece. And we've actually had her bred. Somebody loaned us a male, and so far no
Tom
eggs
Kemp
yet.
loaned us. Yeah.
So hopefully we'll get some babies out of that. But there's a few of our animals, like you asked, and like I said, we're gonna try to do this. We'll try to get more consistent as time goes on, but at least once a month we'll sit down with you guys and tell you. Oh, I wanted to tell you what's going on behind the scenes. So something interesting that always happens is I'm very emotional. She's very emotional. We both get excited before videos, and we're like this. What do you want me to say? Well, I don't want to say that. Well, this is not the way that I want it to be. Well, this is the way I want it to be. So we go back and forth.
Tap
And
in a time or two.
all I have to do is hit record on that video, and while she's going like this, then I'll, Deadly Tarantula Girl, coming to you from my private serpentarium. Welcome. I love it. I mean, my mom used to be, when I was a kid, she'd be hollering at me, "Why did you do that? Why did you do that?" And the phone would ring. Hello. She's just like that when we're on camera. So a lot of times, if you see fire in her eyes when she's saying "Deadly Tarantula Girl, coming to you," that's why. It's because we were discussing about how we were going to shoot that video.
It's a stressful thing when a lot of times it's 2 a.m. I mean, we've already had a super duper long day. And yeah, but you guys all make it worthwhile.
Yes,
so.
we love doing this. We really enjoy the feedback we get. Even the negative makes her feel better. It gets and inspires me to try to do a little better job.
The negative feedback makes me feel better?
Yes, you think it's funny.
Eh,
I take it more to heart. So you're hurting my heart more than you are hurting hers if you're
I don't know.
a negative commenter. But
the only thing that really gets under my skin is the racial slurs, I guess.
Yeah.
I remove those because that's not just offensive to me. It's offensive
to everybody.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, but thank you guys so much for tuning in. We really appreciate you being here. We're going to try to do this more. And like I said, what I want to do is just give you a little bit more details about what's going on behind the scenes. If you guys have any questions about how we shoot videos,
I prefer you not know any of that inelegant stuff, but whatever.
But, well, and I want you to know that
someone's saying nice to see you.
Oh, thank you.
I think he's pretty good looking.
So I just want you to know that we're both all human, and we're not trying to say that we're better than you, because we're not. We just want to share our experiences, and hopefully you'll learn a little something from it. And we know for sure that we learn a lot from you guys.
Mm-hmm.
All the time. You guys are coming up with questions that we've never considered, and it's actually causing us to research and learn.
Mm-hmm.
And we really appreciate that, because that's what we want. We want to learn more. So thank you guys.
I'll take care of that for you, Dave.
Well, thank you, Dave. I appreciate that. I agree. Anyway, you guys, take care. I hope you guys are all staying safe during this time, and it will get better. You've heard that from many people. You just have to keep faith. It will be better. And hopefully we'll get better too. We've got a lot of projects that are in the works right now, and we want to share it all with you. Bear with us, and we'll get it done. We're doing our best every day.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to remember, we have a lot of animals, so those always come first, and we always try to make time for you guys. But if the animals need more care than what we can give the time for to shoot videos, that's why we go quiet for a little bit, and we will hopefully get back with you and let you know what happened, and hopefully it's good things. All right, you guys.
Love you too, John. See
yes.
everybody soon.
Take care.